Alright, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to a 1v1 game in between HuT and Capoch with a civilization matchup that we don't often see. We will have HuT playing as the Holy Roman Empire on the right side of the map in blue, and on the left side we do have Capoch as Red Delhi. The map is Danube River, as you see, and on the right side we will have the majority of the land under the control of HuT. Look at that, it's like 60% on this side of the river. Capoch has a little island of like 30% over here, and there is another 30% down here that's unclaimed. This is just such a weird map generation. This is not the first time I'm seeing Danube River being a little crazy like that. Looking at the map real quick, we do have gold mines quite exposed for Capoch here down south. And if he really wants to get a big gold mine for himself, he has to go all the way down here for the gold. Not something that's ideal at all. Meanwhile, on the other side, looking at HuT's map, he has his back against the wall quite a bit, so he's nicely situated in this low corner. Does have a gold mine over here, some golds over here as well. The big gold is also fairly well accessible. We do have two river crossings on the north, one a bridge and one being shallows, and we do have one crossing for each player to this neutral island down here. Looking at Capoch, it looks like he is opening with double mosques, which is pretty common with the Delhi Sultanate. You start making Sanctity first, and usually you use your second mosque to go for efficient production, but it looks like Capoch will invest into a second scholar. Now, investing into a second scholar in Dark Age is pretty expensive. You see, this guy costs 150 gold, so this is a pretty significant investment here for Capoch. In the end, it's going to pay off when it comes to like return value, simply because this is going to boost the research a lot more, so you can potentially get Sanctity a lot faster, and if that's the case, you can get the sacred sites a little easier. Speaking of sacred sites, we do have 3 on the map. 2 of them are on the side of HuT and 1 on the neutral island, so Capoch got very unlucky with that as well. But I guess the idea here for Capoch is that the way that he accelerates Sanctity with that second scholar, he's gonna be able to get the sacred site a little faster, so he will be able to get that gold back from the sacred site. This could work out nicely, but this assumes that he can take control and hold at least one sacred site. He's going for the berries after, which is pretty natural with the Delhi Sultanate. First of all, you want to be able to start researching your eco upgrades, probably wheelbarrow at the beginning. Second, you already want to benefit from the berry bonus of the Delhi as well. So, nice low mill over here for him, and you see he's already popping out wheelbarrow. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do have a pretty standard build here for HuT. He is 3 on gold and it's boosted by the prelate, but he only went for 1 prelate. Now, if you go for the prelate on the gold and you have 3 over there, you can afford a second prelate pretty soon, so I think that's the plan here for HuT. Once he gets the gold in, he can get a second prelate out, and that's going to be the one that gets garrisoned into the Aachen Chapel. Speaking of the Aachen Chapel, it's going to influence the gold miners, and it will cover the food villagers as well, but it won't cover the lumberjacks. So probably what HuT is going to do is garrison this scholar into the Aachen Chapel, get a second one out, and that's going to boost the lumberjacks if he really needs to. He is building landmark with 3 villagers right now. Now, when it comes to the Holy Roman Empire, one of the best ways to approach your food income, I believe, is to get early scouts hunting. And the reason why that could be good is because this way you could ferry in deer and drop them off right next to your TC inside the radius of the Aachen Chapel. If you do that, your food gathering here will be boosted by the Aachen Chapel, plus of course you will have a very safe food income as well because you don't have to move out for the hunt. So that's actually a very, very safe way of approaching food income for HuT if he decides to do so. We do have barracks out for Capoch as he's coming in with the spearman, and he's moving out with both scholars, interestingly, for the sacred site. I quickly want to take a look at the POV of Capoch, and looks like he has scouted the sacred site here. You won't be able to see it because the spectating is bugged like that, but if he has scouted this area, he should know about the sacred site as well. Same thing on this side. He should know that there is one sacred site over here and one over here, and it looks like now he's splitting the scholars. One is going to the middle, and one is going to the south. Now, looking at the HuT, he doesn't have a single military unit right now, aside from his starting scout. This means that Capoch should be able to take control over both sacred site, which means that he will get the gold investment back quite fast. HuT is up to feudal age, and looks like he is going for a stable, so we will see a couple of horsemen coming out. Horseman is an interesting decision here with the HRE, simply because you expect the Delhi player to get some spearmen out to protect those scholars, so I'm not 100% sure if this is going to work out well for HuT. Capoch already taking control over one sacred site, and he's moving out for a second one. Looks like this scholar is apparently taking a break, doing some shopping on this nearby market. Sir, excuse me. I know the fish is on sale, but would you please move towards that sacred site? I would appreciate it. There is one sacred site here for Capoch, and it looks like he's moving to the other one on the north. Now, I love how he's keeping at least one spearman in here, so his opponent wouldn't be able to neutralize it with just a single random military unit like a scout. But once we have a horseman out for HuT, I would expect him to be able to neutralize this one. We do have the second sacred site coming in for Capoch, and if he can control all three sacred sites, he's gonna have an insane amount of gold income. We do have still Dark Age for him, though he's gonna have to start getting that landmark up soon, because he's just so far away from Feudal Age, whereas his opponent is already in Feudal. We do have an archer range coming out as well for HuT. With the archers out, it's gonna be very difficult for Capoch to hold these sacred sites. I could actually justify trying to get the villager out here and making an outpost, so you can protect this sacred site with the tower. He is going up with the Dome of Fate, as you would expect. This landmark will allow you to make scholars at 50% discount, so instead of 150 gold, you would only invest 75 gold per scholar. Something that you need because you want to garrison these to boost your research. Meanwhile, for HuT, he has a couple of scouts coming in, and this is exactly what he's doing. He's ferrying in deer. I really like this approach, and it looks like he's not even going for horsemen. He just made a stable so he can make scouts, and he doesn't need to use his TC to make it. I actually like it. Now, Capoch actually triggered the landmark, or excuse me, the sacred site victory condition. So he's got all three sacred sites, which means that if HuT doesn't neutralize one in the next 10 minutes, Capoch wins the game. I don't think that HuT needs to be worried about this one this much, to be honest. A single archer should be able to push away the spearman, and he can neutralize this. The bigger deal is that Capoch's resource income right now is insane. Look at that. 533 gold income per minute with 0 on gold for Capoch. That's what you're up against right now if you're HuT. Meanwhile, the spearmen are coming in trying to poke down the scouts as Capoch realizes that HuT is ferrying in there. Looking at the resources though, Capoch is actually closer to a fast castle build here, to be honest. Look at that. He's not far away from Castle Age. Looking at HuT, he isn't that far away either if you consider the fact that he's gonna have villagers boosted by the Aachen Chapel. Does HuT have the villager hunting as well? The answer is soon. He's gonna grab the villager hunting, so he's gonna have an insane food income here. This is probably the most efficient way of using the prelate bonus of the Holy Roman Empire. Ferry in deer to your town center, it's going to return the investment that you do with the upgrades pretty fast, because very safe food income and your getter rate is absolutely crazy. This being said, we still have 2 sacred sites for Capoch, so he's already floating a lot of gold, simply because his gold income is just up in the skies. It's around 500 gold per minute, with very limited villagers on gold, in fact 0 villagers on gold. HuT should be able to neutralize this sacred site, but even one sacred site here means a whole lot for Capoch. Now speaking of Capoch, his food income isn't really amazing right now, and I do see some horsemen coming out, so he'll probably try to jump the archers for the time being. Spearmen will get picked apart by the archers here, and you see HuT continues to ferry in deer. Now, considering that he's got this scout hunting working for him, and he's got 4 scouts, he could just swoop in and take the hunt of his opponent. That would be a nice idea, because that way he could set back Capoch's food eco as well, and he could just boost his even more. Looking at Capoch, he's floating a lot of wood, something I just noticed, as we have more and more scholars popping out. You see, Capoch is even making a scholar on this mosque. So he's got so much gold to work with that he doesn't even wait for the cheap scholars, he just produces scholars left and right. And one of the reasons why he's doing that is because now he's got the efficient production upgrade, which means that he can garrison scholars into production buildings to boost the production rates. You see, a horseman is 22 seconds training time by default, it's cut into half if you garrison a scholar inside. So that's the reason why Capoch is getting the more expensive scholars, but he just wants to get them out as soon as possible, because he's got a lot of gold, and that extra production could help immensely when it comes to securing at least one of the sacred sites for all that gold income. Meanwhile, Mr. HuT, if you look at his resources, he's getting close to Castle Age. Holy Roman Empire has an insanely good economy. Look at this, all these villagers are hyper boosted by the prelate. And if HuT wanted, he could make a second prelate to boost his wood income either. So there goes the Ragnitz Cathedral. This is your usual landmark going into Castle Age, as we do have a bit of a scuffle in the middle. Numbers seem to be favoring HuT. He's got 2 horsemen and quite a few archers, 8 to be precise, and only 3 horsemen for Capoch. On the other hand, HuT Now we'll be facing a pretty crazy production of horsemen soon. Capoch is getting +1 defense soon. He already has gotten the attack upgrade. So those horsemen will be pretty well trained, and we also have a scholar healing them. So this is a fight that Capoch will soon be able to take. There is still one sacred site under Capoch's control, which helps immensely. Looking at the resource income though, that's basically all the gold income Capoch has. It's 200 gold per minute from that sacred site. That's it. Looks like we're getting a second stable up for HuT, so we're probably going to see knights, and this is the moment where Capoch will be in a bit of a trouble. Because what's gonna happen is that HuT will start moving out towards the relics and get them into Ragnitz Cathedral. And Ragnitz Cathedral gives you an insane amount of gold per relic. It's 300 gold per relic, 900 total. Absolutely crazy. Looking at the relic positions, we have one over here that should be no problem for HuT. In fact, he's already moving out with the prelate to grab that. There is one over here that he can take, and one over here, so he has 3 relics on his side. That's what you need. Of course, if you get a 4th one and garrison it into a monastery, even better, but 3 is what you need in order to maximize the gold production of the Ragnitz Cathedral. Capoch is gonna go in the middle for the sacred sites. If Capoch can hold 2 sacred sites... Actually, no, never mind. I'm bad with the math. Capoch needs all 3 sacred sites held to compensate for 2 relics in the Ragnitz Cathedral, because each sacred site is 200 gold per minute for the daily player here, and HuT is getting 300 gold per minute per relic for his Ragnitz Cathedral. Here come the knights of our blue player. This will force Capoch back quite rapidly, and he's gonna have to start adding his own lancers in the process. Infantry siege upgrade coming in quite early on, which is a bit of a surprise. He probably wants to get Springolds out on the battlefield. That's the only thing I can think about. Can he even do that? Oh, wait a minute. He is Delhi. He's not Abbasids. So, actually, I'm not sure why he's getting the infantry siege upgrade then. For a moment, I thought he just wants to make Springolds on the battlefield, but that's not an option with the Delhi. So, Rams, why would he do that when he doesn't even have the army to fight this one right now? It's a little bit of a surprise here. Looks like he's gonna get a decent surround on the archers though, and there is a decent amount of hardened spearmen here to fight the knights, so this is a pretty decent fight here for Capoch. Looks like we will have HuT diving in and sniping the scholar. Nice move from him, but some of the knights will go down in the process, so I'm not sure if this was actually worth it there for HuT. Capoch is walling off the north, and we do have HuT neutralizing that sacred site with just one lonely scout, considering it was undefended, and now he's going to swoop in and take the next patch of deer. Look at that food income still for him. Absolutely insane. He already has 1 relic inside. Don't be deceived by this indicator. It's actually 300 gold per minute. This is the base gold income you get in a monastery, and plus 200 actually comes, or plus 200% comes on top of that. Currently, if you look at the economies, it's 43 villagers for Capoch. HuT is at 39, so slightly better eco for Capoch in terms of numbers. But of course, the prelates will boost HuT's economy so much that he probably has way better resource income. If you look at that for a moment, you see HuT's got better food income. Food income is slightly better for Capoch, but way better gold income for HuT. Looks like we are seeing more and more scholars moving out, so Capoch probably wants to take control over the sacred site in the middle, and we are gonna have some more spearmen trying to escort them. Looks like we had a bit of a raid over here. I don't think we had a lot of villagers dying though. These are mostly spearmen and horsemen. There is one lonely villager that apparently survived all that carnage. Looking at the right side, we could have the prelate taking control of the sacred site here now for HuT. You see that he's got the knights to control this choke point, so he's the one taking the sacred site. And remember, he's got 2 on his side, so if this ends up being a stalemate, he's gonna have an insane amount of gold, not only from the Ragnitz Cathedral, but also from the sacred site. We have 1 Springald out here, spearmen bracing themselves for impact, and they do have a veteran upgrade as well. The scholars aren't really healing from behind, so that's a bit of a problem here for Capoch, but he's still taking a good fight because the Springald is allowed to fire quite rapidly here with the meat shield in front. Spearmen also doing a decent job taking down the knights. We have spearmen reinforcements coming in, and HuT will be forced back for the time being. A lot of those knights are very, very weak, so Capoch definitely wants to get those taken down. You see, there is at least 2 knights here that are just so low in HP. Lancer is out now for Capoch. He is slowly coming in with his own heavy cavalry as well. And remember that his production buildings are in overdrive mode with those scholars garrisoned. Looks like the sacred site in the middle is going to get neutralized, and Capoch is going for the one on the south. Now, if you control this sacred site for like about a minute or so, you already get back the price of the scholar. It's about 200 gold per minute, and that actually compensates for a scholar even if you made it here. But if you make it on the Dome of Fate, you get the return value a lot faster. So, Capoch once again is going for all 3 sacred sites, and as I said, it doesn't matter that you lose the scholar. You get the gold back so fast that it's still worth it to just send out the scholar, try to get the sacred site. If you control it for like 30 seconds or so, you already got your investment back. Looks like HuT is bringing in the relic from the north towards the Ragnis Cathedral. He already has 2, so he would be able to maximize the gold income of the Ragnis Cathedral that way. We got some scouts coming in as well that will be intercepted by the horsemen. Capoch is currently on 2 sacred sites, and he's gonna have the 3rd one in a moment. Looks like a knight here from HuT should be able to discourage from those horsemen from further aggression, and it's very possible that we're going to see 1 or 2 knights being sent towards the sacred site so that HuT can neutralize them. HuT will soon need to neutralize one of these because, once again, Capoch has started the sacred site countdown, but HuT is going to send 1 knight to take that sacred site, and he's going to send all his forces towards the middle. It's mostly springolds and spearmen for Capoch. On the other side, we do have a lot higher quality army. Very expensive knights in here, and some archers as well to pick apart the spearmen. Not really a fight that Capoch wants to take, to be honest. If you look at the resources, both players are consuming pretty much everything, but HuT is actually falling behind in terms of resource income, despite the fact that he's gonna have 3 relics in the Ragnis Cathedral soon. Capoch actually has better food income, wood income, and gold income as well. HuT is currently at 49 villagers, and Mr. Capoch is sitting at 55. But now HuT's gold miners are gone from this gold mine, so his gold miners are no longer affected by the Aachen Chapel, and his villagers on the food will soon not be affected either. So I guess this is where the Aachen Chapel's power starts to run out, and I guess at some point, if you don't have any farming eco here, might as well ungarrison the prelate and just send it to your berry villagers or so. Looks like as Capoch is taking control over the sacred site on the north, we do have the knights swooping in to take the one in the middle, and it seems like the reinforcements from Capoch will be intercepted here. Springald goes down, a couple of spearmen will get taken down as well, and now Capoch's army is a little stranded here on this side of the river, because you see that the enemies are coming from behind, Springald setting up to take some shots. Those volleys are doing a lot of damage to those knights, but on the other hand, the spearmen will get picked apart by the archers, and I feel like this is just enough for HuT to clean this entire thing up. You see, if the knights can get some nice hits on top of those springolds, they can just finish them off, and then the archers can pick apart the spearmen. As I said, I don't really like the army here for Capoch. It's not something that's super powerful. The springolds definitely help, and he's going to take down some of the knights, but in the end, he's gonna get his army cleaned up over here by the knights of our blue player and the archers. Now, if Capoch wanted to just play full heavy cavalry, he could do that, because with the Owned Blades upgrade, his lancers would be better than the knights of our Holy Roman Empire player right now. So that's something that can be considered. Let's take a look at that, because I'm fairly certain that he went up with the House of Learning. This is the upgrade to go for. Owned Blades. This would increase the attack of your knights. Well, it's actually lancers now. Tooltip still says knights, and it's technically the same unit. But that would increase your attack by 3, something that would help immensely, and you could just play full lancers, because lancers would be able to deal with the archers, and since you have better lancers than your opponent, you would be able to take good fights against their knights as well. More springolds are out. The castle is currently getting a springold emplacement, no boiling oil being researched right now. Looks like HuT will be able to neutralize the sacred site down south with a single knight. Capoch will try to just keep control over it as long as possible. Look at this. He's running around trying to pull that knight out of the radius. Just keep controlling it as long as possible, because he knows exactly that the longer he stays in here, the more gold he's going to receive from this sacred site. Because as long as it is not taken by HuT, or at least it's not neutralized, Capoch is gonna get gold income from there. Looks like some reinforcements are coming in, and Capoch is targeting the scouts here. He's got 2 lancers here. One of them is pretty heavily damaged though. He still could try to kill that knight before he neutralizes the sacred site. Let's see if he's gonna be able to do that. It might be enough. He needs to focus down that one knight, because the scouts are no danger. Those knights are. And it looks like Capoch will be able to hold this sacred site for the time being. He needs to get that bar all the way back up, as there is no more units here for HuT inside the radius of that sacred site. It goes all the way back, and Capoch will retain control over one sacred site. Meanwhile, we'll have HuT controlling the middle, and he could move towards the one on the north as well. Looking at the resources real quick, we still don't have a huge amount of resources in the bank for either player, but Capoch can soon afford a second keep. He already has one over here. And I wonder if he wants to get a keep up here. Because a keep up here would secure this part of the land for him, and he just desperately needs that. We see some war elephants being mixed in here. Something that could work as long as we don't have any springolds out. For HuT, once we have a couple of springolds, that's going to be a little more difficult. Looks like these knights will just loop around here. I wonder if they were tasked to attack the palisade gate and they just freaked out. Poor villager is going to be very disappointed about that one, because that lonely berry villager will get picked off. A couple of stone miners could also get taken down here by HuT if Capoch doesn't notice, but Capoch is noticing it. HuT sending a detachment of knights down south to take control over the sacred site, and now HuT is the one that's taking all the sacred sites, so soon Capoch will have to make a move. He's got an elephant, he's got some springolds out, but his army numbers aren't impressive otherwise. If you look at it, it's actually 38. But where are they? There they are. Quite a lot of men-at-arms. They do have the forced march ability, and own blades are coming in right now for Capoch. So this is the time to shine. Men-at-arms, elephants, springolds, they should be able to neutralize the sacred site in the middle. Looking at HuT real quickly, he's got 58 armies, so pretty considerable numbers though. A lot of knights in the party, quite a lot of archers, and I see a trebuchet coming in, so he was planning to besiege this keep. In reality, he's gonna be on the defensive now, because he's gonna have to hold this sacred site. Now here's the deal. The archers are pretty poor against the men-at-arms. The lancers or the knights actually perform pretty well against them, but of course when there is springboard fire helping out, that's a different thing. Archers, well, they do a pretty decent amount of damage against elephants when you have so many of them, but the main damage dealing unit over here is the springboard. Looks like the knights from HuT are sniping down some of these springolds for Capoch. Capoch still retains 2 springolds here, so he could use them to push this springold, and you see the elephant is perfect to soak up a lot of arrow fire, and now the men-at-arms with owned blades are marching on top of those archers. I think they didn't pop forced march just yet, but this would have been the time to do it. Just try to jump on those archers. Crossbowmen are being mixed in now by HuT to try and deal with the heavy infantry, so we will have to see a retreat here from Capoch if he doesn't want to lose all his men-at-arms. He's using those springolds to snipe down some of the villagers, but he's not looking at this one, and it's gonna get taken down by a HuT springold. There was a knight here that has been killing villagers for quite a while. And an elephant was sent out to clean this up. Oh boy, it's not even one knight. It's more like 5 or so. Nice counterattack here by HuT. Eventually this does get cleaned up, but this is definitely annoying for Capoch. Capoch is going to be facing 69 villagers from HuT, and Capoch is 81 himself. Capoch is on 2 TCs right now, so that's the reason why he's got quite a lot of villagers. Whereas his opponent, he's also on 2 TCs. Looks like the sacred site here will be neutralized by Capoch, and he is also neutralizing the one on the south, so currently Capoch has 1 sacred site, and no sacred site for HuT. Looking at the resource income though, HuT is getting that insane gold income now from the Ragni's Cathedral. So, despite the fact that HuT has 0 on gold, he's got 900 gold per minute from the Ragni's Cathedral. That's gonna be around 900 when it stabilizes. One knight is being dispatched to deal with the scholar that's trying to get the sacred site. Men-at-arms are trying to snap down the knight, but that's not gonna work out. HuT is going to see what's going on. He's gonna snipe the scholar, knowing that if there is no scholar, Capoch cannot take the sacred site out there. Big fight preparing in the middle. 59 army currently for HuT and 44 for Capoch. Knights diving in, trying to snipe springolds as fast as possible, as the men-at-arms will jump on top of those crossbows and archers. Now we have a lot of crossbows though, so Capoch will be picked apart by those quite easily. So most of the springolds are now down, so this has to be a big win here for HuT, because you see the elephants are slowly going down, and with the springold support for HuT, plus so many crossbows, archers shooting over here, he is gonna be able to take down the elephant, but you see the elephant is soaking up a lot of damage. Now, one of the things that Capoch could do is potentially go for a couple of tower elephants. because Tower Elephants would be very, very good at dealing with the opponent's archers here. So they would be able to shoot back and still absorb a lot of arrow fire. The problem with these melee elephants is that they're just so slow moving. They're a little tankier than Tower Elephants, but they also perform slightly weaker against massed archers, I believe. Springolds will turn back, try to take some shots, but ultimately all the army here from Capoch goes down. He's still at 32 armies, so it's not like he has to be disappointed about this. But HuT is at 33. In fact, HuT's population isn't looking that sharp. Look at this. 83 villagers, 33 army. Capoch is at 92 villagers, 32 armies, so slightly better population right now for Capoch. Looking at the resources, we don't have Imperial Age resources yet for Capoch. And for HuT, same thing. HuT is exclusively getting gold from the Ragni's Cathedral, by the way. If this landmark has free relics inside, it's one of the best landmarks in the entire game, and it looks like HuT just wants to go for a tiny bit of food income. Look at this. I count 49 farms on this screen. Most of them are in the influence radius of the Aachen Chapel, so that's a very, very nice use of the chapel here by HuT. You see, all of these villagers will be boosted. You could even delete this mining camp, this house, and replace them with farms for even more in that radius. Capoch might be moving to the south here. As I said, he needs to secure this side of the river, because this is technically supposed to belong to him. This gold mine is the one that's supposed to be on his side of the river, because this is the one that's supposed to belong to HuT. Now we also have a Mangonel in here, as well as some men-at-arms for our blue player. No unique upgrades just yet for our Holy Roman player on their men-at-arms. You would see the models change if they had the two-handed upgrade or the mace upgrade. If they have the mace upgrade but not the two-handed, you would see a shield and a mace. If they have the two-handed upgrade but not the mace, they do have a two-handed axe. And if they have both upgrades, they do have a two-handed mace, which is actually the case right now. You see heavy maces and two-handed weapons finished, so now they have a two-handed mace going for them. Looks like HuT is going for the third sacred site potentially, but the moment he moves out, Capoch swoops in, and he's got quite a lot of horsemen, which is probably the best unit here that Capoch can make. The horsemen will be able to deal with both archers and crossbows quite effectively. The keep here starts shooting at the forces of Capoch. Boiling Oil is already in for Mr. HuT, so that's going to be a very, very good defensive position, and it looks like HuT is returning onto the battlefield. I saw a couple of Landsknechte being mixed in. I wonder if that was just a misclick from HuT, or it's actually conscious. But it looks like he's just going for full men-at-arms for the time being. The men-at-arms will actually perform pretty decently against the horsemen, but I think what Capoch needs to do is just go for the horsemen on the archers and use his own men-at-arms against the ones of HuT. HuT's men-at-arms are still supposed to be better against heavy infantry, so that's something that needs to be considered. They have +2 extra attack against any kind of unit, and +3 due to a bug against heavy units. So that's a grand total of +5 against other men-at-arms, whereas these guys only have +3 because of that +3 natural attack upgrade. So the HRE men-at-arms are actually still better than the Own Blades men-at-arms of the Delhi Sultanate in even numbers. Looking at HuT, he's going into Imperial though, as one of his buildings is about to be set on fire. This is actually a key TC. He could pop the emergency repairs to keep this alive, and that's exactly what he's doing. So it looks like Capoch will retreat, and we will not have this TC being destroyed by Capoch. I think HuT may have intentionally waited for those men-at-arms to do so much damage on it before popping the emergency repairs, so that he can use that to maximum effect. Horsemen now coming around for Capoch, as he could get some villager kills on that stone mine. That's basically the best place that he can raid right now. Imperial Age on the way, and in for Mr. HuT. He has gone up with the Elsbach Palace, somewhat surprisingly. Now, the Elsbach Palace will be a very, very good defensive landmark here, and it's going to boost your defense, but I could have imagined the Palace of Schwabia being used here, just so that he can add villagers a lot faster. Here comes a battering ram from Capoch though, and you see that this keep is outside of the influence radius of the Elsbach Palace, so it's very likely that this keep is going to be lost, but there's boiling oil in this keep, so as you will see, the oil will flow out on top of those men-at-arms, and they will just die so badly. There is the oil, and you see a lot of them are taking so much damage. Boiling oil is no joke. They will probably still be able to take down the keep over here, but you see that the boiling oil is damaging a lot of this infantry over here, and Capoch's army will go down pretty battered after this engagement. Meanwhile, we got some horsemen at the back trying to raid this unclaimed gold mine from HuT. HuT with a slight score lead. Let's look at Capoch's POV. He is also imping, so he's getting close to Imperial Age himself with the Palace of the Sultan, which is a landmark that's going to keep producing Tower War Elephants. In the long run, that's a very, very fun landmark to play with, because those Tower War Elephants are very expensive otherwise, so getting a bunch of them for free is actually very, very cool. Capoch is now coming in with stone walls down south. This is an extremely important measure for him. He needs this big gold mine. He sort of needs this relic as well. He needs this neutral market. This side of the river should belong to him, and he's going to make sure that that remains that way with those stone walls coming up. We haven't seen a single dock from either player just yet, and honestly, I could imagine it for either. Especially for Capoch, because he's the one that's sort of controlling the river. Get some cannon ships out and try to prevent crossing from your opponent. Here come the men-at-arms. A couple of Landsknechte are also being mixed in here. You see these guys with the two-handed swords in the party. These are light infantry that die very, very easily, but they have an insane amount of damage output, and that's actually area damage, so it's even greater. Capoch is up to Imperial, but doesn't have his Imperial Age upgrades yet. You see that these men-at-arms are still standard. Whereas on the other side, we are looking at elite men-at-arms, so this is not really a fight that Capoch wants to take. That's actually a very, very bad fight for Capoch. He's got a lot of springolds out here, so he might be able to hold this position, but definitely a fight that's a little premature for him. And now you see that the men-at-arms are swooping in, trying to snipe the springolds. Springolds will have to retreat. Cannon emplacement and boiling oil on the way for Capoch, but his army numbers aren't looking that sharp anymore. It's 38 army only versus HuT's 66, and we are seeing hand cannoneers being mixed in by HuT. Now, once we have hand cannoneers in the party, those elephants will die so easily because hand cannoneers have an insane amount of raw damage output. Looks like most of the men-at-arms here will get cleaned up. And am I seeing lancers being used? Some of them will be horsemen. There's a couple of lancers coming out as well for Capoch. He's gotten the elite horseman upgrade, and he's just now grabbing the attack upgrades as well. Looks like elite spearman is also coming in, but elite spearman won't do much against men-at-arms and archers. First Tower Wall Elephant is 1.5 minutes away from completion, and the Madrasa is up as well for the key upgrades. For Kasva? Not even Kasva, it's Capoch. So for Capoch, the key upgrade here would be Biology for his light cavalry, of course, and after that probably elite army tactics for the infantry that he's making. Meanwhile, on the other side, I don't really have a lot of time to look for the University of our blue player, but he also needs the infantry upgrade out there. Only veteran spearmen out here, but there is elite men-at-arms, hand cannoneers as well. Capoch will try to jump on these, and it depends on how much damage he can do with those springolds. You see infantry is chasing down the springolds, horsemen jumping on the archers as much as possible, cannon also taking some nice shots, but it doesn't seem to be enough. The first elephant is almost out, but the firepower is too great here. 86 army for HuT, and Capoch has 28. Capoch is just losing way too big numbers. Honestly, Capoch is floating a lot of resources, you see that? He was at like 2k food, 2k wood, 2k gold at some point, as that battering ram is not gonna be able to take down the keep. Boiling oil is almost completed, so HuT is gonna have to be careful fighting next to this keep here as the first Tower Wall Elephant pops out. But look at this flood. It's the infantry flood, and that's the reason why the Holy Roman Emperor can be very dangerous. They can establish a very powerful economy. You see all of these villagers boosted by the Aachen Chapel, plus of course the Ragnis Cathedral having 3 relics inside. If you look at the income per minute, HuT's got an insane food income here, and also very, very good gold income. That just helps you flood infantry all day, all night. And now, HuT is coming in here, slowly destroying everything that Capoch has over here. He's just focusing production buildings now, and you see these elephants are getting torn apart. Infantry flooding the entire base of Capoch. I think Capoch stands no chance now. There's one poor Tower Wall Elephant that's trying to do his best, but it's not that powerful. You see, it looks like we're gonna have some more War Elephants coming in here from Capoch, but these are very expensive, and they will still die to hand cannoneers. Hand cannoneers have so much damage output. You see, this guy has 42 damage per hit, so 5 or 6 of them finishes off a War Elephant in a couple of volleys. This keep here is pretty vital for Capoch's survival. He does have boiling oil on it, but the keep is almost dead. The ram might actually not live to see this happening though. So this ram is gonna go down. Capoch is holding this position, but behind this one, his entire EQ is getting ravaged. He's down to 86 villagers with all those hand cannoneers, lancers, horsemen, whatever HuT still has here is running around, killing villagers left and right, even making a ram inside the base of Capoch here, just to jump on that town center. But even if that wasn't happening, I feel like the straight-up fight is something that benefits HuT as well. Now it's elite men-at-arms as well for our red player Capoch. But as I said, now we are taking a look at hand cannoneers for HuT. That's going to just destroy everything that our red player has. You see that HuT really wants to jump on those war elephants. He wants to prevent them from being massed, I believe. Because if they get massed, and you would get like 10 or so of them, this could be scary. Looks like Capoch will be able to clean up the push on the front of his base. Down south, it is still somewhat peaceful, although Ram is being prepared by HuT to break through this wall. Capoch's tower is actually looking the wrong way. Look at this. His tower is looking this way, and he needs to look that way. He was probably just dropping it really fast because he was busy fighting this one. So he didn't have a lot of time to take a look at that screen and position that tower appropriately, but that's a wrong tower. Here come the men-at-arms. Finally, Capoch cleans this up. But the damage has already been done. You see, he's down to 133 population. HuT is at 157. Although, HuT is losing a lot of units over here. You see that the men-at-arms are going to pop their force march ability, so they can jump on top of those crossbows and hand cannoneers, and ultimately they will clean them up in close combat. So now that they have managed to close the distance, they will clean them up. Looks like we have a horseman raid coming in here from Capoch. He's gonna have to play a very, very long game. He's gonna have to play a very long game to stabilize here. That's what I wanted to say. Looks like the market is burning. Capoch could still save it if he sends a repair villager, but I think he's got other things to attend to with that battering ram trying to knock his way through the walls. And it looks like HuT will change the angle of attack, go for the push on the south. Meanwhile, for Capoch, he has a decent army of men-at-arms, but he needs something behind this one. Because the men-at-arms are nice, but the HRE men-at-arms are very, very powerful here, and the hand cannoneer is an excellent support unit for HuT. So men-at-arms from the Holy Roman Empire plus hand cannoneers should be able to shred whatever Capoch has over here. Multiple keeps are in here for Capoch, so he wants to fortify this location. Doesn't really care about the sacred site right now, as his horsemen swoop in, try to raid HuT. HuT will have a lead spearman out to clean this one up without problems. Looking at HuT, he's just now grabbing elite infantry army tactics for his infantry, which will boost the HP of his infantry, and also the damage as well. So, pretty nice upgrade for your infantry. That's probably the most important thing right now, because it's not like he has a lot of cavalry. You could make an argument for chemistry at some point, which is going to increase the damage output of your hand cannoneers, but that's a pretty expensive upgrade, and it's not necessarily urgent for those hand cannoneers, so that's something that you can wait with a tiny bit. Now, Capoch has boiling oil beneath this castle. He could just try to jump on these rams with the villagers. Let's see if he's gonna do that. The boiling oil will take all of those spearmen down here if HuT decides to go on, but still HuT's army numbers are just crazy. 89 army, and not only is he pushing the south, he's also pushing the north. Capoch is only at 56 army. He might be able to hold this one, but regardless of the outcome of this fight, there is gonna be another push in the middle, something that Capoch has no defense against. You see men-at-arms and hand cannoneers just swarming in here. The only thing that HuT is missing here is just some sort of siege, like cannons or trebuchet, but look at this. Capoch won't even be able to hold this one. Those men-at-arms, with the extra attack against heavy units, and the extra base attack as well, that's pretty powerful out there. Looks like the keep will stand for the time being, but as I said, while Capoch sacrificed his entire army to fight this one, HuT still has an insane army. Capoch is at 34 military right now, 70 for HuT, so we're seeing consistently better numbers for HuT, and he's coming in with the battering rams. That keep is barely standing, so 3 rams should be able to take care of it, and if you take that keep down, you can take down the Palace of the Sultan right next to it. And, by the way, the starting TC of Capoch is burning here, so at some point this is gonna burn down, which is annoying because it's one of the key landmarks of Capoch. Here go the rams, and that's going to be one dead keep. Simultaneously down south we also have a ram push. but this is going to stall out. I don't think that HuT has enough firepower to take these castles down right now. He doesn't even need to be honest. He just needs to focus on this direct push now, because he can start burning down the Pass of the Sultan, as I said, which would prevent Capoch from getting those free tower elephants. Speaking of tower elephants, there is one coming in 40 seconds, but I think that's gonna be disrupted because this building is going down too fast. And then, when it comes to landmark victory condition, there is the starting TC that's about to burn down anyways. You need to destroy the House of Learning and the Dome of Faith. Those are the buildings that you still need to destroy here for HuT if he wants to win on a landmark victory condition. Capoch is planning to launch a counterattack with 3 men-at-arms and 1 fat elephant over here. As we do have a couple of hand cannoneers in this corner by HuT. Could take down the villagers of Capoch over there, but I don't think it really matters. HuT is just consistently 100 population, or 200 population, excuse me, with almost 100 army. Capoch is struggling with population at around 125, and I think our HRE player is about to win this game here. Very nicely done. As I said, the Ragni's Cathedral is just an insane source of gold. He has been getting 900 gold per minute for, I'm not saying 40 minutes because that's the entire length of the game, but at least 20 minutes for sure. If you do the math on that, that's about 18,000 gold. That's an absolutely ridiculous amount of gold to work with. And if you look at the resource banks, HuT actually doesn't have a lot of gold, so he pretty much spent all of that in military. And that's the reason why he's overrunning his opponent right now, as he's going for the landmarks. He's gonna take down Dome of Faith, and then there's the House of Learning, and that's basically it. I don't think it matters because Capoch is dead anyways. You see that at the 100 population, but at latest, when HuT destroys this building and this building, Capoch will be out of the game, but I'm fairly certain that Capoch already knows that. This elephant is just very, very funny looking as it's trying to raid, and it might destroy that all-important mining camp, but that's not really the factor here. So where did it slip for Capoch? I feel like he had a pretty underwhelming map to work with. You see that HuT had way more land under his control on his side of the river. And the other thing is that free relics with the Ragni's Cathedral for the Holy Roman Empire, plus the Aachen Chapel as well over here, that's an insane amount of resource income for the HRE. The Holy Roman Empire has one of the best economies in the entire game, and it is not something that's just very good early game or very good late game, it's good throughout the game. So the Aachen Chapel helps a lot with the early economy, and then you can use that until the end of the game with your farming eco, and then once you get free relics into the Ragni's Cathedral, that's gonna skyrocket your economy in the long run. Now, Capoch is down to 66 villagers, and that should be it, I believe. Capoch is about to tap out in a couple of moments, I believe. There's a couple of random bombards out here by HuT. But at this point, Capoch is at 2 army, and HuT is at a whopping, I couldn't even read that, but probably still 90. HuT takes the game, and shows how powerful the Holy Roman Empire can be if they are let to boom. And that's the key thing. You can't really let the Holy Roman Empire player build up their economy, and you can't really let them get free relics. That's the even bigger thing. Free relics in the Ragni's Cathedral is just such an insane amount of gold that if the Holy Roman Empire player gets that, it's gonna be insanely difficult for any opponent and any civilization to fight them.